Hi, my name's Lexi Blevins, and I'm interviewing today with Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, my lovely audience, wherever you are in the world right now. Welcome to Hellblazer Biz, the show where you get to have your questions answered by your favourite film and TV stars. Hellblazer Biz is brought to you along with the BS Podcast Network. Check them out for lots of other podcasts which are awesome to listen to. Sadly, I need to advertise this as bringing you such wonderful guests doesn't come without costs. I've created a Patreon scheme where you can donate $1, $5 or $10 a month. For $1 a month, you get a thank you on the show and the website and a thank you email. For $5 a month, receive a digital note or a special newsletter each month. You get your name listed on the show's patrons list and a shout out on a show, plus show swag, so like bumper stickers, hats or mugs, available after 3 months. For $10 a month, you receive all the above, the t-shirts, the bumper stickers, etc. A special show postcard, handwritten note from myself as well once a month. I will write to you, postcard or a letter saying hello. Also available after 3 months. And you can also be part of the show. You will be entered into a draw with other patrons of the same $10 a month. And if you're selected on that particular show, you get to personally ask your question on Skype to the guest. So I will be Skyping with my guest. I will dial you in, and you can talk directly to that guest. How cool is that? Yeah, it's just something I thought of. So that's up there. You can set up donations by visiting my website hellblazerbiz.com and clicking on the Patreon button, which is on the sidebar, or you can go to https patron patron.podbean.com/hellblazerbiz, and you can set everything up from there. I really appreciate it. It does cost a lot. I'm not saying I'm begging because it's a tough world for everyone, but it'll be a great help if you could spare 1, 5 or 10 a month. It'd be awesome. Anyway, enough with that. Let's get on to the show. And that's out of the way. So on to my guest today. I bring to you a delightful and talented young actress who is making her name in the world of entertainment. I am honoured to introduce to you Lexi Blevins. Okay, everyone, I am here today with Lexi Blevins out in New York City. So good afternoon. Sorry, Lexi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I know we've had a nice little ice-breaking chat before, just so we can go find out where we're sort of getting to. And as you know, I've got questions for you. I've
Yes.
had some people send stuff in as well, which has been nice, so we can
Awesome.
get some information and find out a bit more about yourself and where you're gonna go, where you've been.
Okay.
Within reason, obviously. Don't
I hope with any reason.
Yeah, there's nothing awkward. Cool. So the first one is kind of, I mean, you're an actress now. You've done theatre, TV, film. Did you always want to become an actress?
Yes.
Yeah.
Since I was 8.
Everyone hears it. I used to do acting as well, and that's where I wanted to be. All through my school, from about 8 years old, I was in drama groups. I did the exams at school in drama. So like when I was
Yeah.
16, we call them GCSEs. So I did all the Macbeths and everything like that, the Shakespearean stuff.
Oh yeah.
We were actually the first group in the UK. I've just remembered this now for some reason. Essentially, GCSE drama. Three Men in a Boat by Jerome
I,
K. Jerome. Have you not heard of it?
I don't. I'm
It's
sorry.
it's an oldish piece of English literature, but it's like a comedy
Oh,
sketch.
okay.
Like, they're basically just three old men in a boat, and
That sounds like
yeah,
fun.
it's quite fun. And they don't only just turned it into a screenplay to do in a theatre productions around the country. And this is going back to 1992.
Oh, wow.
Again, shows my age, but it was the first time they'd done it, and we actually wrote to them, and our school got to perform for our exam piece. We got to perform several scenes of it before anyone else in the UK or in the world had actually seen a dramatisation
Oh,
of it.
that's cool.
So I was like,
That's really cool.
So yeah, I was pretty impressed with that. But that's just come back to me then. Yeah, that was
That's awesome.
yeah, it was a great piece of theatre we did there. Definitely. I think that's a big the recurring theme from all the ones everyone I chat to. It's the passion,
Yeah.
and it's the passion. When you're in this profession that you are, if you don't have that passion, with the amount of rejections that come through, for everyone. I mean, I get it. I mean, I keep telling people the same. I get in the feeling of it from these interviews that I do, because for every successful interview and great people like yourself that I actually get to speak to, there's God knows how many, like 80 or 90 emails that I don't get responded to, or I just get like Johnny Depp's or an Orlando Bloom's this week, just simply they're not available, and that was all, from publicists. Which, to be fair, Hollywood A-listers, I was not expecting that to come on my show, but
Shooting for the stars. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. Every now and then, but yeah, yes, I can see this is just obviously what I'm experiencing is a very small portion of it, because I don't. It's not my living as yet, as we've said.
Yeah.
Yet. But so for you guys, there is that. People don't see that, and they don't always understand when they see someone on TV how hard you've actually worked to get to that stage. And
well, there's a saying that for every overnight success that you've ever seen, there is 10 years of solid work behind them that you don't see, that is completely off of IMDb, off of any sort of resume credit, off of anything you can necessarily track.
Yeah.
So everyone works really hard to be an overnight success.
Exactly. That's it's quite an ironic coin of phrase, really, isn't it?
Well, I think that people want the quick fix of things. They want to hear that it's easy and that it's simple, and it's not.
No, it's hard work. I mean, there's months where you've done theatre, so you've got months of sweating out performing at theatres over and over again. I mean, okay, it's a different type of media, but you're building that experience, and you're building that work in your name to actually get yourself to a point where it is difficult. Okay, so that kind of moving on from there, which do you prefer, TV or theatre, sort of screen or stage?
Okay, that's difficult. Film is fun because I feel like everyone in it is very I feel like it's funny. It's like two different types of personalities that are like the people that mostly focus on theater and the people that mostly focus on film. I like doing both. If I could make a living doing just theater from now to the day I die, I would be very, very happy doing that.
Yeah.
Because you actually get to live an entire character arc, whereas in film it's like, oh, we're going to shoot the last scene at the very beginning of the shoot. And you're like, okay, cool. Where am I in this?
Yeah, I can see how disjointed that would be. It's quite when you're in, because you are right, because you can be filming for 3 weeks and the film can be totally back to front. If you're not careful, you can probably not get to experience and feel that character as much. I mean, as an actor, that's what you do anyway. That's part of the whole thing. But I know what you mean. It's just disjointed the way you actually get to put it onto. I can't speak. I just completely lost the question of thought.
It's a little more disjointed. Like I remember this random ebook project I did called Last Hybrid. We shot like the big monstrous breakup scene like my first day on set, and I had like just met this guy. It was just like I was like, I feel bad because I'm screaming at you and I just met you, but here we go. I don't know. It's weird.
I can imagine.
But it works out.
Oh yeah, it all works out in the end. And I mean, mind you, by the time you've actually done how many takes of it, I did a film last year, an indie film last year, an independent one over here. Yeah, here we go. Sorry. So, I didn't like the character. I didn't know about. All they gave me was the lines that I was in. I actually had lines, which was I was brilliant. It was an unpaid role. It was just me getting some experience, which is great. And I was there for 12 hours for the day for a 20. No, for the actual scene I was in. The long scene was about 2 minutes long. It was 12, and then I was in another scene lying on my back on a concrete floor with my hands handcuffed behind my back for ages with part of this. It was just the amount disjointed so much. But by the time we'd actually done how many takes, because I wanted the camera angles at different
Oh
angles,
yeah.
you get to know the stars. You get to know your co-stars anyway, and so
Oh yeah. By the end of all of it. Well, and it's funny because you would think that when you get to the like SAG production level that
mhm,
things would be um I don't know, I guess more professional or different. And it's funny because they're kind of not
mhm,
in some ways. Like I remember for my very first one-liner on Born Again Virgins, here I showed up and I was on set for 12 hours. I spent like six just chilling in my little like mini trailer. They
yeah,
give like the one-liner people. It was just funny. I was like, oh, all right, cool. This is exactly as efficient as every other set I've been on. I don't know. I was just thinking it was going to be like way more
yeah.
intense because it was like my first union project and it was actually on TV, and it was the exact same as this indie stuff I've done to some extent. Everyone was a little more organized and there was a lot more assistance and a
Mhm,
lot more hands to help.
yeah.
But in terms of like pacing, I was like, oh no, this is exactly what I've been doing. Okay, cool.
Definitely, definitely. And I know with theatre as well. I mean, I love the theatre because it's very I think it's very intimate as well for an audience member as well watching. It's the intimacy that you get between that between the actors on stage and an audience, and every performance then is different because it might be the same play and you might be doing it for 4 weeks. But I think I was speaking to someone recently and the director wasn't. Have you ever heard of Mrs. Brown's Boys? The comedy sketch? No. It's an Irish comedy show. It's made it over to the States, but I don't think it's as big there yet.
I
Um,
haven't heard of it, and I really
uh,
like comedy. I need to write like I need to be taking notes right now. Stuff
yeah,
I need to see clearly.
I'll drop you a link to it. It's a brilliant. It's basically a guy called Brendan O'Carroll, an Irish comedian, and he's been doing this since 1994. But like you said, it's this one-hit wonder. The overnight success. They'd been working on this for 10 years before it hit
Yeah.
TV and became prime time and successful. They've been going to all the pubs and stuff. But he said, I had one of his cast on, and he was telling me that when they do the live shows, they're told this might not be the first. This might not be the first time you've done it. It might be the fifth time you've done it, but it's the first time that audience have seen it. So
Oh yeah.
he wants it fresh, and he actually mixes it up each time to make the comedy laugh. But that's his look on it, and I think that's perfect about theatre, which is different to TV. Is because every night that you're performing, you've got a new audience who've not seen it before, and the reactions will be different.
Doing comedy in front of a live audience is like completely irreplaceable.
Mm,
Just to be able to have that immediate feedback there, because I've done a fair amount of comedic work, and when you're on stage, it's like amazing because
mhm.
they're right there in front of you, and you can time
Yeah.
your pacing to laugh and everything else. And then when you're on set with film, you're like, I really hope people think this is funny. Otherwise, I just look like an idiot. But okay. Like,
Yeah, exactly. You got to wait 6 months, 8 months before it comes out before you can see if
yeah.
people are laughing.
Yeah.
Because I went to see a play as well. Another one you should watch is called The Play That Goes Wrong.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
You've
I've
heard
actually,
it, Mischief
I've
Theatre.
heard, yeah, I've heard good things about it.
Went to see that at the weekend, and I mean, I've got my wife and my son were with me, and we were all people turning around because I've got a belly aching laugh when I laugh, and I was in the third row, and it was just like, wah! Burst out laughing. We couldn't breathe by the end of the show because it's the comedy. Like you say, comedy is acting is difficult. I think very very difficult, and it's a very intense and unique skill to have, and like you say, but acting comedy is something even worse because you can act, and if you haven't got that comedic bone, I think you've got to have that sort of timing. And there are people out there who can who do comedy stuff, and I would say that they're not very good at it because I think it is another part of the quality of acting that is very a skill you need to be able to have. And I think a lot of people are just born with that sort of ability.
Oh yeah, well, I think you can be born with that. And I also think that if you do train with the right people and you work really hard, you can learn just about anything.
True. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And that's probably what these guys have done, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
No, I tweeted I want them on the show. It's just pure slapstick. From the moment he's hammering at the beginning, the hammer flies off, and good old slapstick comedy. But yeah, I recommend it. If they ever come to the US, which hopefully they might.
I have a feeling they probably will. I mean, I've heard good things. I'm sure I can find. 'Cause I know a lot of people. 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 I know Yeah.
Yeah. If not, you've got to come to London and see it.
I do need to come to London. Well, my grandmother is from England originally
Ah,
and came
okay.
over to the States as a GI bride during World War II.
Hmm.
And I would love to go back and see the house that she lived in. I mean, I don't know if it's still there or not, probably. But yeah, she grew up in Portsmouth, and I've
Ah,
always
okay.
wanted to go back and like tour England, but that hasn't quite been in the cards yet.
Yeah, it'll
Made it to the
happen.
made it to the Ukraine, but
Okay.
not to
So
yeah.
you made it to the Ukraine, but you didn't. That was quite a bit further than it is the UK. So.
I know. Um, I I went there on a mission trip back in high school to play with orphans and have
Okay.
fun and repaint their part of their orphanage and fix part of their roof. It was a fun
Wow.
time.
Wow. That's fair. How long ago was that? Because that's got to be something. When that's got to be something. That sounds really sort of something that's a really decent thing to do. It's something I've always wanted to do is go and do something like that, and never had the guts.
It's really fun. I did my high school in I went to Wesleyan School in Norcross,
Hmm.
and they have a huge. It is a Christian high school, and every year most of the high school leaves on mission trips all around the globe.
Hmm.
In my senior year, I hadn't gone on one, and I was like, well, all my friends have told me this is life changing and great, so I finally did it, and it was life changing and amazing.
Cool.
So yeah.
Brilliant. You always hear people doing it, and you never actually meet people who've actually done it. So.
No, it's a blast. Well, and the best part, it was funny. I really liked hanging out with like the 2s and 3-year-olds because
Hmm.
their Russian was about as good as my Russian. So we got along really well. Whereas the older kids, it was just kind of like, okay, this is cool. I had this one girl. Every day we'd play like a point at, the light switch, and she
Hmm.
would say what it was Russian and I'd say what it was in English. Um, and she caught along. She picked up English way faster than I picked up Russian. There's a couple of weird sounds in like the back of the throat that I just couldn't get. It was embarrassing. She finally dragged me over to one of our translators and was like, "Why are you so bad at this?" I was like, "Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I feel great about myself right now."
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah. Cheers. I love Russian. I tried to learn. I did German. That's what I sort of did my university degree in and everything. So I lived in Germany for a year, and
Oh,
it was in the
cool.
former East Germany, right near Dresden. So it's right by the Czech Republic border and everything like that. And if you want to feel how good you feel about yourself, is I was over there and I lived in a little flat. So it was a lovely flat. I had a kitchen and everything in there, and it was free. The rent was for me because it was the managing director of the company who owned his house. So I lived in his daughter's
Oh,
old flat
nice.
underneath. Gorgeous.
That's like an
Um,
awesome pickup.
yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Sadly, he passed away a few years ago. I didn't realise, and they've razed the house to the ground. I looked on Google Maps about 3 weeks ago, and I nearly cried because it was a gorgeous place. But yeah, my rent was to teach English to the factory workers,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
they were all obviously I was 20. They were all in their 50s and 60s, and they refused point blank. They said we learnt Russian and German. They do not want to speak English. They do not want to learn English. They have no desire at all. And yeah, so
There's
I
something
felt
kind of like
that big.
really respectful about that. Just be like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah,
I know 2 languages. Figure it out from here.
exactly.
I
So I
like
felt
that.
about that big. I was like, right, okay. But then I got a year living there, and I got rent free because it wasn't my problem. It wasn't my fault. So
They hired you.
they did. They hired me. I was worked in the factory with them every day, so my German got really sort of vulgar. And yeah, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's fantastic.
but yeah, it's out of Russian because they all learnt Russian and German because it was former DDR and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was an interesting. But yeah, it was one way you just feel thanks for that when you go there and you're like, I'm here to help you learn English. We don't want to. It's like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a little awkward.
Awesome.
Cool, cool. Okay, so moving on to another question. That was a hell of a long chat for rambling for me.
Yeah.
I told you this is what happens to me.
Fine.
If you choose to play with any other actor or actress in a movie, who would it be? Is there anyone out there who you really, really want to work with?
Gosh, there's so many. I had to pick just one. Um, Ian McKellen. I'm
Oh,
like a
he's lovely.
huge. He's just so good, and he's just so brilliant. Um, For a girl, I'd probably say Meryl Streep. That's kind of cliche, but I would say Meryl Streep just because she's also, I don't know. I feel like I'd be so nervous if I actually had to act opposite either one of them because they're such legends. I feel like I would just completely freeze up and be like, I'm in the presence of gods. Oh gosh. Not really, but sort of. Yeah, that would, yeah, I probably would freeze up a bit, but I would love to act with either one of them.
Oh yeah, I can tell both of those are, they are legends. Ian McKellen, I think, is one of my most favourite actors. He was with Patrick Stewart recently as well on stage in London, and I never got the chance to go. The tickets were sold out long ago.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that was like the first thing it opened within like not even 5 minutes. It was sold out.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, I think it was, or something based around there. But yeah, perfection. Both of those actors, they're just have full respect. In the same kind of vein, are there any directors who out there? What kind of genre is your genre? What do you love to do? I mean, you mentioned comedy already.
So this is the part where probably most people listening to your podcast will judge me. So in terms of my film work, I really would love to be like the star of Z Nation or like in the next Sharknado. I like really cheesy, goofy, crazy sci-fi stuff. Anything on the Sci-Fi Channel. I would love to work with Asylum, any of them. I just think that it's fun. It's goofy, it's fun, it's very tongue-in-cheek, and there's still really poignant moments in it, and it's just a good time. It's there for entertainment. Yeah. To flip on that for like theater stuff, I really like Shakespeare, and more like dramatic, serious pieces. So I don't know what that says about me, but I'd like to have, I guess, a more serious theater career, and then like a completely goofball stage career. Sorry, film career.
Screen career.
I flipped too.
Yeah. Fair enough. That sounds good.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like making people laugh in general at the end of the day. That's kind of why I got into this, because I think there's enough sorrow and misery in this world, and you should make people laugh, because that's, I don't know, if I can just brighten someone's day, then my day is a lot better.
Yeah, it's like we were talking before, but walking around New York and stuff like that. I fully believe that if you're happy and you're smart and you spread that happiness and joy, then you don't know what kind of day someone else is having. And just I do it in the office as well. I always say hello, greet people, and sometimes you can visibly see people are just like, they lift themselves up because wow. Thank you. Not just because of who you're not big-headed. Just be someone was big enough to say hello to me. Thank you.
Can change someone's entire world. Well, I used to. My day job before I moved to New York City, when I was living in Atlanta, was to bartend at the Atlanta airport. Which that was just a series of me trying to make everyone's day better, because nobody likes flying, nobody likes traveling. Half the time, Delta had canceled someone's flight, and everyone was super grumpy. Hi. We get off the phone like yelling at someone, and like you're like, hi, would you like a shot of something? Like, don't kill me.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Awesome, but yeah, it's a great philosophy to have. It's just sort of like you said, there's so much rubbish going on in this world. Every day you just hear it over and over. So I'm not going to get into that because that's, but it's just
depressing.
Nice. It is. So yeah, spreading a smile and spreading some joy and laughter is what it's all about.
Yes.
Good. What's your most memorable experience in acting so far? Either whatever you've done, in stage or screen, I mean.
So my web series Rivals, which is about two rival League of Legends gamer groups. And the head of one of the game groups is Vic. And in Atlanta, Battle Brew is an actual bar that you can come visit. And there was 2 locations originally. And the first one was very much had the feel of kind of like your mom's basement. Like it was a bunch of mix and match couches, and I mean there were computer towers, obviously you could game everywhere in it, but there was no sophistication to it really. It was very much like a hole in the wall dive bar that happened to have a ton of video game equipment. So that was the first Battle and Brew. It was also right next to an Indian restaurant. And we were outside shooting one night, and they had decided to throw away like the rest of a goat carcass that was rotting in the dumpster next to, oh my gosh. Anyway, right next to Battle and Brew, and the entire area just reeked. Obviously, it's an animal carcass. It's August in Georgia, so it's like 95 degrees during the day. Yeah, you can just imagine what that smells like.
Yeah.
And we were having to do this like romantic scene outside in this
Lovely.
weird dream sequence. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. We had this big bottle of Fabuloso, which is this really lavender smelling cleaner. I don't know if you'll have that in the UK, but it's everywhere. And between every single take, it was like cut and they'd be like spray. And they would like, one of our PAs was going through and spraying the entire cement and where we were standing with Fabuloso to try to make it smell like lavender and not like dead rotting goat carcass. It was the funniest thing. And I'll probably never forget that. That, and I was on set for my ID channel show Murder Chose Me, and I'm standing outside of a convenience store in Nashville, Tennessee, in this super tight dress and these 6-inch heels, and this guy came up and actually tried to like proposition me in between takes. I was way too convincing of a prostitute, apparently. But he actually was trying to be like all cool and was like trying to offer me a cigarette and was like, hey, you want to get out of here? Like, and I was just like, I'm sorry, I can't. And it was like right at that moment, because it was an external shot from a car. Right. And the camera crew was all in this car that was pulling beside. The director like came out and like run up and like, grabbed me and was like, hey, Lexi, like come over here, I have a note for you. Like ran across the parking lot. It was funny. Yeah. The guy was wearing a wife beater and Ninja Turtle pants. I don't know why that stuck out in my brain so much, but something about the Ninja Turtle cartoon pants and you trying to pick up a girl was really funny.
Yeah. Classy.
Super classy.
Yeah. I mean, listening to that goat story, especially in Georgia, so it sounds like it's more of a perfect prop for The Walking Dead that gets filmed down there than a love story.
Oh my god, it was oh my gosh, it was so funny. That was our last night shooting at the old Battle Brew, and there's this huge running joke throughout the entire series about the smell of the old place, and it's very true. The old place was really smelly. The new place is super posh, really cool. They have it's like I don't know what you would call it. I mean, they've like got craft cocktails and it's all fancy now and in a really nice area of town and all that.
Cool. So that was a web series you did, was it?
Yeah.
That was for, what was that called?
Yes. Rivals.
Okay.
That was oh my gosh. We only shot one season of it. We ended up not shooting another one. But yeah, that was the longest that I've ever been on with the same group of people, and we've all become really close.
Cool. Is that
and my other pardon?
I was gonna say, is that on YouTube or anything that can be found?
It is. It's on YouTube. Okay. I'm trying to think of how to tell you how to find it.
I can look it up after and send a link out with everyone as well.
Oh, okay. So, I'll send it to you afterwards. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That sounds pretty cool, and like you say, it's great if you've got a running joke all the way through an inside joke that you can.
Well, it's like an inside joke with everyone that used to go to that bar, because you talk about it in the actual series about the smell, and the smell is very real, very, very real.
Excellent. If you had a chance to play a character from a book or a play, again, sort of moving on from the screen, which would it be? What kind of character? Which character would you be? I know that's a tough one to throw out because there's so many out there.
Well, my problem is like half the stuff I read has already been on screen, so I'm like, well, someone's already done that.
That's all right. Doesn't have to be something that's unique.
Oh, doesn't have to.
No. If someone else could have done it already, it's fine.
Well, no one's done. Well, I've always wanted to be Hermione Granger, obviously, in Harry Potter, but I'm like far too old for that now.
Not for the new play.
Well, you're right, not for the new play. I didn't think about that. I feel like I need to be a little older for that too. Whatever, I'll grow into being Hermione Granger. And I was a huge Harry Potter fan growing up. Sabriel, she was like a necromancer. That has not been made into a movie. I would love to be her. I'd have to dye my hair for her though. She's got like this long black flowing hair, but she kind of walks in between like the shadow world and our world, and I've always thought she was really cool. If there was any sort of way, they don't write these sort of characters for girls normally, but like I think it'd be really fun to sort of be kind of like a female Hulk. I know that sounds crazy, or like a female orc, but you know they don't give those people storylines. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Female Hulk. There is a She-Hulk.
there was a She-Hulk, but I
Yeah.
meant like I don't know. Whenever I'm a huge nerd, I'm also into D&D, and
Hmm.
recently most of the characters I've been playing in D&D are just like these crazy muscle characters that are all just like the female orc of the group, or I don't know. I think it's fun. Um, I was playing healers for a while. And those are obviously, ranged attacks. It'd be very methodical, and I'm like,
Hmm.
I just would rather run up and just hit something in the game. It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's why I
yeah,
can't play stuff like that because it is too methodical. It's too logical for me, and I just want to get in there and, and whack people over.
so much fun. I did play with one D&D group that was very they wanted to be like so methodical with how they work, and that's
Hmm.
just not how I roll. I my last DM, if I could prove to him that marshmallows were a thing, he would let me roast marshmallows over a fire in the game, and I would just he let us have a lot of fun with it
Yeah.
because
Cool.
that's what it should.
Oh yeah, that's what exactly. That's what it's there. It's fun. It's brilliant, brilliant. Okay, you're also very sporty. I've noticed as well. You're trained in multiple skills. I've seen. I've
Oh.
researched your website. Flag.
Yeah,
One thing. I mean, obviously, there's a couple of things which made me chuckle. There was like frisbee, uh, but flag because that's a skill. That
I had
is
a
a
friend that
skill.
got called in for that
Really,
because for like an AT&T commercial because she could throw a frisbee.
it is
Like,
difficult. It's not that easy to do. It's easy to throw it. It's to get it in the right place is hard.
yeah, yeah,
I've got.
and you'd be surprised the amount of actors that have stuff on their resumes that they can't do. I
Yeah.
went through and purged mine a couple of years back, so I was like, okay, can I really actually do tap dancing? Probably not as well as I could, when I was taking dance
Hmm.
on a regular basis. So I took some things off, but or qualified them. Like
Yeah.
beginner. I think I have beginner skiing on my resume. I can get down a mountain, just maybe not that fancily.
Excellent. I think my dancing skills are like a paralytic bee.
That's the best. That's great. I do rock climb though. That is,
Hmm.
I do enjoy that. That's a lot of fun.
Cool.
I really
Well,
like hiking and outdoorsy stuff.
yeah, yeah. You see, I'd love North Wales. There's so much to hike. I've got Snowdonia right on my doorstep. It's it's
That's,
beautiful. A beach 400 meters away. It's. This is why I don't move.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I don't blame you one bit.
exactly. Flag and rifle spinning stood out to me there. Is that
Oh,
is that the what the like the you see? I mean, I was in the TA years ago. Is that what the U.S. Marines do with all the spinning the rifles and? Or is that?
I not anything quite that intense. I was in color guard and marching band in high
Hmm.
school. I was captain of the color guard. But yes, I know how to spin flags and do a bunch of fancy throws with them. As you can see on my website. Yeah, that was my junior and senior year. I was in marching band.
All right, cool, cool.
Took a
Sounds
little break from theater for a little bit and decided to go try something new.
fair enough, fair enough. I just wondered where that came from. That was all 'cause it stuck out, and I was like, okay. Everything else, like especially what next one is like stage combat, and then you've got flag and rifle spinning to stage combat, which.
They need to organize a resume a little better. That's what I'm
Well, no, it's that stage combat. In fairness, stage combat's a bit further down the list. But yeah, stage combat as well. That's something which is very good to have. And I've spoken to a few female actors. They've done some thing called Knights of the Damned, which is an independent. One of them was in Wonder Woman. She was a what do you call them? Amazonian as well in the background in
Yes.
Wonder Woman. But they've all got combat skills. So I think so with more female action roles come in and. Finally, about time. Yeah, finally.
It's about time, guys.
Yeah, it's about time. To be fair, as it is, it's been a long time coming. So it's good to see that there's a lot more female lead actresses in roles of that kind of nature and
Yeah.
becoming the heroine and the hero of a film rather than just being the person that answers or follows on from the male speaking. You know what I mean? It's, you know, to have that as a great role model to be. So, but and I know for a lot of those things like official combat training and stuff like that is a requirement. So it's good that you've got that kind of skill.
Yes, I would love to be in the next Wonder Woman because you know there's going to be a sequel. But yeah, I'm so happy that Hollywood has finally caught on that female leads can sell and sell really well. And same with minority actors. Like finally, like everything's starting to open up. I mean, we're a long way away from where we need to be, but we're slowly getting there, which is the best part.
Exactly. You know, there are, and it is good to see. It's been snubbed in Hollywood, I think, for such a long time, but you've got so many amazing female actors. You've got, I mean, and especially like you say, for ones which are for equality and things. I mean, look at, you've got Sam Jackson. Look, Denzel Washington. He's one of my favourite actors of all time, and he leads and stuff like that. So, but I still think there's more to be done in that area to boost it. Definitely.
Oh yeah. Well, and I definitely think we're moving in the right direction. Slowly but surely. I feel like while Hollywood is very progressive, it is still at the end of the day run by a bunch of businessmen. So, and they only care about the bottom line, what sells. So
yeah, exactly. I think another good thing coming out is Star Trek. The new Star Trek Discovery is very diverse. Yeah, on Netflix. I can't wait. I'm waiting. I've emailed CBS and they've told me to speak to them in a month to get them on. I'm like, please.
Yay! That's gonna be awesome.
I was speaking to on Twitter with Rekha Sharma because they've been tweeting out, and there has been hate actually from Star Trek fans, and I was quite shocked. And I've tweeted my shocked out because my shockness. What a word. That's a really elegant word, Chris.
Shockness. I like that. I'm going to start using that in my daily conversations.
Yeah, my shocked feelings out because I think one of the tweets was discussed and it was something like a non-white Star Trek is not Star Trek. And I was like, and my tweet back was, Star Trek's the most racially diverse series ever since the 1960s. Did you not see Uhura? Because and how more well, and like Star Trek's like whole thing. I literally just was rewatching Star Trek Voyager before we got on the phone because Captain Janeway is one of my inspirations. Anyway, but like their big thing is to constantly push the envelope with what was accepted. Like the very first interracial kiss on television was on the first Star Trek. Yep. Like that's all they've ever done. Like whenever Captain Janeway was a female captain at the time, that was huge for like the scientific community because wasn't the accepted thing, was it?
Yeah, that's all they've ever done is like push boundaries and to make what people think is, I don't know, unacceptable. I don't know what the right term is.
Yeah,
more acceptable and more mainstream.
Exactly. I think Rekha actually liked my tweet back as well because I said you can't get more racially diverse than having a Klingon on the bridge of the Enterprise.
Everybody's actually at the end of the day on the show like just an alien in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly. So we as
humans are an alien to a different species. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, but you are right. I mean, that's for a show to push racial boundaries in the 1960s when there was still so much segregation and I'm going to call it stupidity because that's what I think it was about. Because it's lost the word, but you know what I mean. Sort of the hatred. There's a hatred there. And she wasn't just a background character; she was a main character. So it was not only was she was black, she was female. So that's two. Sorry, that's that way around. Two things, which were in the 60s not. Well, they were taboo type things to put on TV in a main role was someone. The sex is female and the race is not what people are used to and. Like you said, that is just so groundbreaking, and it's good to see. I think with the new Star Trek that they've got Pakistani, I think cast members. They've got Indian, and it's brilliant.
Oh yeah, well, and then you have movies like Moonlight that are amazing, that are finally winning Oscars over here, and you have Hidden Figures that's cleaning house as well. Like, this has been. I feel like we're on the right track. I think we can go further with it, but I mean, for sure. But I definitely think that we're in a much better place than we were.
Oh, definitely.
Years ago.
Yeah.
And I think in 10 more years we'll be in an even better place.
Definitely. And yeah, we can start. We're starting seeing the influx now of that, like you say, these films where they're actually accepting the right kind of actors into the roles, and they're
Yes.
making films specifically for them, which is even better.
Yes. But every once in a while, oh my gosh, every once in a while when they like still try to whitewash things, it like drives me crazy. Let's not get on that.
Yeah, that's a whole
Mm.
soapbox, but yeah, you
I was
are
gonna
right.
say I'll get off my soapbox, but I don't get it, especially when it's like clearly the nationality is like stated
Mhm.
in history,
Mhm.
and you're gonna what?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. That's fair enough. But yeah, no, you are right, and there are certain things, yeah, which they do change, and you're just like, oh, yeah, shake your head. But like you say, with the ones that have come out in the Oscars recently and Moonlight and things like that, they were amazing films, and it's
Yeah.
amazing to see because they've been, like you say, they've just been shoved under the carpet for so long.
Yes, and or like classified as like African American television. It's like, well, can we have something that everyone watches and everyone can appreciate? And I mean, because every single human being has stories, and all we're trying to tell as actors is stories.
Mhm.
And I greatly appreciate seeing stuff that isn't, I guess it isn't mainstream because it makes me think differently about the world, and I'm better for it because I am thinking differently and considering someone else's point of view.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
because yeah, I got into acting because I really enjoy also exploring like the psychology of
Mm.
people that are very different from me. Um, I also really like playing murderers, which is weird, I know, but
I'm just
it's
gonna hang up
fascinating.
now.
No, not like that. It's just I find it interesting to explore other people's viewpoints,
Yeah.
and think that cinema is a lot of times a great way to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll say the character. I'll let out the character in that indie film I was in last year. I didn't. They didn't tell me until I got to the day. Like I said, it was a paedophile, and that's the worst kind of person I could ever think of.
Yeah,
But every actor I've spoken to about it said that's probably the subject matter's bad, but it's probably the best character you could have ever had as your first role because it's you've got to really put yourself in the shoes of someone you would never actually be in. So it's
yeah,
like fair enough. He got his
yeah.
comeuppance at the end though, which is why I was handcuffed on the concrete floor for hours.
Good, good.
Acid over the groin region, kind of a yeah.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I can't say that character didn't deserve it.
He did. It was
Yeah, that's awesome.
but I didn't. Thankfully,
When?
it's nothing. Thankfully, I don't know. I think it's later this year. It comes out actually. That one.
Okay, doesn't matter.
It's not a.
When is it?
It's only an independent. It's an independent one locally. Well, not locally in Britain. See, that's local to me. It's more
Yeah.
local to me than it is to you. So yeah, that's coming. Yeah, I think that'll be coming out soon. But yeah, it was. That was. Thankfully, I didn't have to do anything. Well, I had to put a hood over my head and do some voiceover lines of reminiscing of this girl in the past about, and that was that. They didn't tell
Whew.
me at all until the day. Again, that wasn't even scripted. They just said, "Can you come and do this?" We've had a few people turn it down because they didn't want to do it, and I was like, "Okay, it's not me. It's just a role that I'm playing." And then when I read the lines and I came out from under the hood, I said, "You just made me feel the seediest person I've ever felt in my life."
It's like I'm gonna go shower now.
Yeah,
Give me a second.
it's like
I'll be back. Oh,
give me a bar of
yeah.
soap so I can just wash out what I've just had to say.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was just, but it was an experience, so I'm not going to forget.
For sure. Well, and I mean, it isn't you're when you're in character. I mean, it's not you. It is the character.
Exactly, that's what you got to remember, and I think that's what I told them because they said loads of people, said they didn't want to do this, and I was like, well, it's not me. It's just the character. It's just what's written down. I'm not.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't have to see that I'm that person,
for
which I'm
sure. No,
definitely not. I'm just, which is, people know, but yeah, that's what you do. That's what an actor does. You put yourself into an awkward situation.
well, and I mean, my really good friend Tony has been on like everything, and he is like, he's the gangster, the mobster,
Hmm.
the abusive boyfriend, whatever. And it's great if you ever talk to him and you're like, oh my gosh, you were so scary in Phil in the project here. He's like, oh my God, thank you so much. And it's like the nicest guy I've ever met.
Yeah.
But he is terrifying on screen.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's quite quite different to how people are. There's a few of the actors I've noticed that the characters on screen. The Manu Bennett, big muscly guy. He was thingy, Crixus in Spartacus. Big
Yeah.
muscly, really hard knocking guy. But when I spoke to him, his little kids were running around him and kicking him out of the bedroom because they wanted to play in the bedroom, so he had to walk with his laptop down the corridor.
Yep.
And it's just like, you're just a softie. Because that was a joke. I was like, yeah, the mighty Crixus defeated by an 8-year-old.
Oh, that's great.
So
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
but that's what I mean. It's like yourself as well. I'm sure there's roles which you'll play on TV, which I'll see you in, or people out there will see you in, and we'll be like, whoa, because you come across that's how it is, and but obviously you're not a complete lovely person to talk to, so you're welcome. And again, that's a long way around a question which I came with ages ago, so which we've happily. This is what the show's about. So, Laura, I've got a friend, Laura Marie Howard. She's actually an actress herself. She's a performer. She was in Pandorica, I think, a year or two ago, which is her
That's
first
cool.
big. Sorry, yeah.
That's really cool.
Have you heard it? Have you seen it? Pandorica movie.
I think I haven't seen it, but I've got a couple people that are following me on Twitter that were in it, so I'm like, okay, it's time. I need to go watch it now.
Mark Zammit and stuff, I think, were in it. Mark. But they're great. Yeah, watch it. It's brilliant. It's like a post-apocalyptic. It's probably right up your street. It's very, very, very good. She's asking what acting advice could you give to actors who are just at the beginning stages. You are like yourself at the beginning stages of your career. Well, you're not really because you've done a hell of a lot.
Just keep going. You're gonna work for directors that are sleazy. You're going to go through any sort of gamut in this business. My advice is just to keep your head down and stay true to yourself and know that not everyone's going to like you. And just keep going. I mean, that's it. I mean, eventually, it's the people that never give up, like Harrison Ford, that get places. Every actor is a small business, and it takes at least 7 years before any small business becomes really successful.
Yeah.
So that's my advice.
Excellent.
Stick in it for the long haul. Because I mean, the people I've seen that have stuck in it, like for the long haul, and my friends that have been in it for forever, I mean, they're all booking like crazy. It just takes a really long time to get started.
Yeah.
And I mean, all you really need pretty much in any city is for 2 or 3 casting directors to like you and want you to work. And at that point, like, you will start working. I mean, that's so doable. I don't know. I feel like when I first started in this business, I kept thinking that everything was so insurmountable because it was so mysterious.
Yeah.
And then you get in and you realize that it's not that mysterious, and you definitely don't have to be an A-lister to make a living doing this. You can be that creepy guy in everything, or that random, you can be a character, and still make a really great living doing this, and still be able to get paid for doing what you love. But yeah, just don't give up.
Just keep
Because
swimming.
that's heartbreaking. Yes, just keep swimming, because Dory is my spirit animal sometimes. But really, I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, I mean, obviously make sure you're doing the right things. I would recommend reading Self-Management for Actors by Bonnie Goletsky. She's awesome. I needed someone to explain the business side, which every acting school out there only trains you on the craft, which is great. You got to have the craft in order to work, period. Yeah. But if you don't know how to run your career like it's a career in a business, then you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the sad part about, like, if you don't treat it like it's a business, it's not going to pay you like a business would pay you.
Yeah. That's actually really wise, and it's great. I mean, there's only been a couple of people who said that to me, acting wise, from coming through. But they have said. I mean, Harold Perrineau was one. From Harold. Yeah, they've said. So I'm not name dropping. Sorry, it sounds like I'm a right idiot. But yeah, so he's said the same thing. So you've got that attitude, which is good, because it is a business. Because you've got to learn how to deal with different. Well, in my view, I'm working in IT for my normal job, so it's like it's transferring those skills. You've got stakeholder management because you've got to deal with publicists, agents, you've got to deal with other actors, directors, producers. You've got to deal with a lot of people, and
like starting out, you're your own manager, you're your own agent, you're your own publicist. Well, and it's funny, like I think going into real estate as an actor was kind of the first time where I was like, oh, like they're teaching me to run my real estate business like it's a business, obviously, because it is. But I was like, okay, so they're talking about like outside the box lead generation to find clients to sell them a house or whatever. And I was like, okay, so this works for real estate. So how do I like outside the box lead generate to find me that next acting role that other people, you know what I mean? Like that, where do I go to find that? How do I do that? How do I run like I have like my 5 things I do every morning as a real estate agent to help keep my career going. So I was like, okay, well I have this like very clear template of how real estate works. So how does that work for acting? And like I said, Bonnie Glebsky's book has been life-changing for me in that way, but just kind of trying to learn the business side of things because it is so different. And it's a completely different muscle than everything we're asked to do as an actor in terms of our craft. It's like completely different skill set. But yeah, that's my biggest advice is to learn the business because more than likely you're already a pretty good actor. And if you're not in acting classes all the time, then you should be. But I mean, if you really want to do this, you've got to learn the business side of things, not just the performance aspect.
Yeah. That's really, really good advice. Thanks on that one, Lexi. That's because I'm approaching it from the other side because I've got the years and years of the business sort of experience. I'm trying.
Go get your craft.
Go get the
craft.
I'm for myself. I am. If I move to London, like I said, one of the things I'm going to do is take up acting classes down there. But I've got to figure out where my location's going to be because wherever I go, I'm going to do acting classes.
I think you would do really well in improv.
Thank you. Why do you think that?
Doing this means you've got to think on your feet and you're funny. You've already made me laugh during this whole part, which might not be saying much because I laugh at everything, but sorry, that was kind of mean.
Yeah, thanks. Goodbye.
Really mean. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
Like but I don't know. You're already good at thinking on your feet, and I don't know. That's half of improv. It's just kind of saying what comes to your brain and letting it fly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's great. That's lovely to hear. But that's kind of where, as you know, that's kind of where I want to push this anyway for myself. So I've used a lot of the business skills I've got, and you're right, they are transferable. And anyone out there who's listening, it's if you've got your dream where you are this is what you want to do, and if you've been stuck in like business, I might say stuck because it's been a great career for me, in business. Sometimes it does feel like you're stuck.
If you're working, a day job in order to get you to your dream job.
Yes, that's what I mean. Perfectly. But yeah, that's what I mean. You can, and you can cross transfer those skills, and that's the way I speak to publicity. I write to I phone and write and email. And I reach out. I only did this 2 years ago. I would never have done this or thought that. The way I reached out to you is just like, would you like to come on and talk to me? I'd never have dreamed that I'd be doing that 2 years ago, and. So yeah.
Well, your business skills gave you the necessary tool set to be able to do that.
Exactly. It gave me the confidence to reach out and then just speak to people and yeah. So they are fully transferable. So yeah, I just need to build. I need to build the craft now. I was all right at it 20 odd years ago, but yeah, that's 20 odd years ago. Things change. I'll wait till this film comes out to see how bad I really am.
Oh, I'm sure you're fine. If you felt like you needed to go take a shower afterwards, then you probably did your job right. Just saying.
Yeah. Cool. One take as well. I was really chuffed. They didn't. I did my words. I was like, yes. First time on screen. I didn't. He told me, he goes, don't look at the camera. So I desperately tried not to. Oh, that's hard, isn't it? Do not look when you come on for the first time and they've got the camera in your face. It's like whatever you do not. You're not supposed. I was supposed to be looking at the person I was talking to. And do not focus on the big camera right in front of you. It's like, well, if you didn't tell me there's a big, now I'm going to be sitting there and going,
No, that's I was in a indie film back in college, and one of my theater teachers was in it, and his kid was in it, and he was like, his kid was around like, oh, 2-ish at the time. He was like, we practiced this last night, but I'm really nervous about this one thing. It's just to like run up and be like, Daddy, and jump up in his arms. And he did it perfectly that night before when we were like, when there was no camera. Second that we said action, he literally was like grinning at the camera the whole time and like running in slow motion. And it was like, but no, I mean, he'd never done anything like that before. It was really cute, actually. I would love to see that blooper reel. Anyway, but yeah, it's so true when you don't know what to do.
Exactly. So it was a good learning experience, and I recommend anyone who wants to follow their dreams, no matter what it is. You know, I speak to you guys all the time, and you guys are living the dream that you want to do, and it's just great to hear all that passion coming through, and it's inspiring. It really is, and that's what a lot of my listeners who watch it, or viewers now as well, they find it inspiring listening to you guys just talking openly about what gets you into it, and
you have bad days. Like you have bad days. You have days when you think that you're like the smallest ant in the entire world is just going to crush you and life is miserable. And that's fine. You just learn that you're going to feel that way every once in a while. And I give myself like a 24-hour wallow period when I don't book. If I really, really wanted the part and I don't get it, I give myself like 24 hours to be like depressed about it. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm done. And my boyfriend knows, everyone in my life knows it's like, I got a 24-hour limit. And if I start trying to be like, oh, but what if, it's like, no, we're done with that. We're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are days when you think that you're small, but I mean, nothing great came because it was easy, and no new person that innovated or did something outside the box. Ooh, sorry if you heard that.
That's all right.
Roommate's dog. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone also thought that any major inventor was crazy for doing what they were doing at the time, but they didn't listen to them. And
yeah, exactly. And look what happened. Look where we are. We would never have got anywhere if people, I
don't think the entire world would have gotten anywhere if they had listened to the like. I call it my
the inner voice, isn't it?
Yeah, that the mom voice that's in my head. The like, but what if you fail? What if it, when there's, I don't remember who said this, but I saw this quote the other day on Instagram, Twitter, one of those various social media platforms. And it was, but what if you fail? Like, sorry, what if I fail? And it said, but oh darling, what if you fly? And it's like, there's that, you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And have faith that like, that's going to happen.
Exactly. Perfect. Perfect saying. Rob, before I wrap this up, is there anything we can see you coming up in that you've got coming out? I know this. You've just been in something recently. I can't remember the name of the show. Sorry.
You're fine. Murder Shows Me. I think it is started to air in the UK. Recently, I don't know if because it aired here in March.
Right.
But I was talking to the lead actor on it the other day, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're in like Ireland, UK, and I think Jamaica now, and yeah."
Cool.
But I don't know when that's starting.
All right, I'll have a look. Yeah.
To start over there or not. Right now, I am in between jobs and auditioning like crazy, and eventually I will book something, and life will be great. Yeah.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, I'm sure we will see you in something soon because you've got the attitude right, and you've got the thing. And you've got the persona to do that as well, like you say, comedy. So you see you in the next big comedy. That'd be cool.
Working on it.
Yeah, or not yet. Right. What was I going to say there? Right. Last question. I've asked this because a guest I had on last year was a Muppeteer with Jim Henson for 30 years. Mike, he played Nien Nunb in Nine Nunb, as I got in Star Wars. You know who I mean? The monkey face guy who was in the Millennium Falcon with Lando Calrissian at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Oh yes,
you know who I mean?
What are you talking about? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty much my life, to be honest. There, actually, most people just look at me and go, "What the hell are you talking about?"
We're on the same page now.
Yeah, but
You were saying.
he was a puppeteer on the Muppets and stuff. So I asked a question then, and I've asked everybody ever since. If you were to be a Muppet, what character would you be? Or have a Muppet? It doesn't have to be one that's out there. It could be a mix of different Muppets. What kind of character would it be?
A slightly less diva version, not virgin. A slightly less diva version, like Miss Piggy. If you could like combine Miss Piggy and the Cookie Monster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, are we talking about Muppets or am I talking about Sesame Street?
They're the same thing. It's fine. They're all
okay.
They're all handsome. Yeah, they're all.
But yeah,
Cool.
there's your answer.
It's like between Cookie Monster and Miss Piggy.
Yeah, somewhere in between the two, because I feel like Cookie Monster is, yeah, I'm him more often than I'd like to admit. But I'm definitely not. Miss Piggy's like, I don't know, her like joking diva-ness. If you haven't followed Miss Piggy on Twitter, you need to because it is so funny.
Is it? I've not seen.
It's great. Maybe I just think she's hysterical. I'm probably the only one. Everyone else is like, Miss Piggy's not funny. She's a huge jerk. She can be, but yeah, no, I think she's hilarious. But yeah, like less diva version of Miss Piggy.
Fair enough. I was making the Cubs at my son's Cubs place last night laugh their heads off because I was doing my impressions of Miss Piggy and Kermit and stuff. And
let's hear them. I want to hear them.
Oh, hang on. Okay, give me a second to have a drink. Bear with me a second.
Oh, you meant like a drink of water. I thought you were about to go like shotgun a beer or something and come back.
Oh, yeah. No. Okay. I've got to see whether just why are there so many songs about rainbows?
That's really good, actually.
That's me, Kermit, and then you've got the Miss Piggy's Kermit, how dare you put him on stage? I am your diva.
Yes, no, but that is Miss Piggy. Yeah. That's great. That was awesome.
That came off from the Yoda, because obviously Yoda's just the same but backwards. But when 900 years old you reach, look as good. You will not.
I never noticed that till right now. Oh my gosh, my entire world is ruined.
Yeah. Frank Oz. Cool. Anyway, that's anything. Anything you'd like to say to people just before I stop recording for this?
Thank you for taking this time out of your day to listen to me ramble.
Oh, thank you so much, Lexi. That was so much fun, and I hope everybody enjoyed watching and listening. This has been Chris Gordon with Lexi Blevins on Hellblazer Biz.